right, people. Welcome. Greetings. Welcome to the Dayenu Common Denominator event here in Jerusalem. It's a beautiful old city of Jerusalem, or just outside. I want to introduce the person behind all this. A little introduction. In the past year, Ilana Daniel has risen up as a spokesperson for human rights and medical freedom. She has been sounding the alarm all around the world about the drastic rollout of a compulsory vaccination campaign and the green passport in Israel, and how that has created a segregated, two-class society in her country. She is the founder of the Common Denominator, an activist group based in Jerusalem. Originally from the United States, Ilana moved to Israel 24 years ago and is also a health counselor and writer.
I'm really glad that you're all here, and I really mean it. Those of us who have watched the deliberate destruction of the way of life as we have invested in it have much to be grateful for. The sense of truth that we share and have witnessed in one another is one that is both gift and obligation. It's a gift to be spared the poisons they preach, but it's also an obligation on which to act definitively, and to act now. Because we are live. This is what God has placed truth in your soul for. To use it to battle for the good, because our lives and our future do, finally, depend on it. We ask the world to join us today, in all its shapes and colors, perspectives and lived experience, because the gluttonous power grab that those placed in charge are enacting is one that is, in the thick of its darkness, finding those of us who seek the light connecting on the common denominator of what makes us essentially human, or what it means to be made in the image of God. We chose this location where we overlook Guy Ben Hinnom, Sultan's Pool, where King Menashe, an evil king, and the longest ruling one, sacrificed children to Moloch. All those with a heart to see know why we're gathered again in this spot. It's become known to us that what happens here in Israel, the heart of the world, will come to pass the whole globe over, only if we allow it. For the Jewish people whom I do represent, we come to take back our ability to shine light into the world. We have indeed an incredible opportunity. In the face of the deliberate deceptions of our media and our governments, who have done nothing less than terrorize us, the people of the planet, to reframe. We are given opportunity to reframe many of the divisive narratives that have been intentionally manufactured and inflamed to serve those who know the way to conquer is to divide us from within. And oh, how we have fallen for it. Between our neighboring countries, between the varying ways we frame our understanding of the world, and most destructive of all, within our own communities. We are different. That is our strength. We will come into conflict. That is our purpose. It is in the conflict, the point of meeting, one that we will anyway be repeatedly faced with until we finally get it right. It is in this inevitable conflict that is the whole point of the enterprise. To understand we share this planet with one another, and there is no escaping that, or each other. And it is in the meeting of our differing perspectives and choices, while maintaining their clarity and their shape, that we can learn how to choreograph our shared space here with ever-increasing nuance and reason and patience. I learned something about free choice this past year when they had begun to take it away from us. Free choice is what breathes life into life. It's what gives us the opportunity to learn, to do better, to have hope for the future. People say we're living in extraordinary times. We are. But also, it's nothing new under the sun. The creation of an other who stands to harm my imagined security, it's the oldest trick in the book. It's just that the profoundness of our times means this is today a division that has encompassed the globe. And the conclusions I have made of late, through month upon month of debilitating lockdown, through the facing of a dystopia Hollywood images prepared us for, is that the common denominator of what binds us all is that we people need people. We're herd creatures. We need community to live, we need each other to grow, and we need each other now to stand up against the powers that seek the destruction of that pinnacle of human experience, the holy soul connections between us. The Israeli Pfizer experimental mRNA vaccination program has been one that has brought awe across the globe. For a nation that still faxes its government documents, we have watched this operation play out with a speed and efficiency not before seen in this fine land. We gather here today because this experiment is to be coerced upon our children who have zero statistical risk of harm for the infection from which they will be used as the world's test subjects, for an experiment for which they cannot give their consent. Just this morning, the Israeli News announced that the FDA can authorize the injection of this experimental mRNA technology to the 12 to 15-year-olds any day now. And that from next week, here in Israel, those 12 to 15-year-olds can begin receiving this experimental injection. Your children are not medically indicated for this intervention. Studies have come out from our own Ministry of Health reporting increased deadly myocarditis the younger the population, and yet they move forward with their plans. There is known risk to fertility, yet they move forward with their plans. There are no existing long-term safety studies, and yet they move forward with their plans. If we are to sacrifice our 12-year-olds today, tomorrow it will be our 9-year-olds, as it was the 16-year-olds the day before. And as Chris Sky said poignantly, if we know their end game is number 10, a homogenous global nation regulated by a green pass technology with an mRNA shot to cure every ill they create, then we must stop complying at number 1. If we know they ultimately intend to inject 6-month-old babies, then we must say no right now. Do you know what compliance to totalitarian rules get you? More totalitarian ruling. 15 months ago, we put healthy, law-abiding citizens on house arrest for just 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And look where we are today. Masked and distanced, fearful and suspicious, manipulated, divided, and terrorized, facing ever more absurd and outrageous policies from our leaders. When I was growing up in the States, we used to hear all the time, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Because when you must buy your freedom, you'll be asked to pay again and again. Conditional freedom is not freedom. If we do not have the final say over our minds and over our bodies, we are not free. And if we are living in a regime that manufactures division between the sacred relationship of parent and child, then friends, this is a regime that we must oppose with all of our resources. This is just the beginning of our call to the world for massive, global, non-compliance. Yeah, for that I clapped. We are the many, but we don't yet know it. We are the strong, but we don't yet know it. Our instincts can still be trusted, but we don't yet know it. Dear world, we are in this together, though we don't yet know it. The dangers that we face, we share. And likewise, our win is your win, and your win is ours. We are creating a global community out of the decimation they have left, and we will win.
Amen. Amen.
They cannot account for the wild card of the human soul, and we will show them that this is our world. These are our children, and we will have the final say. So action must be taken in this world and above. And we ask for God's guidance to lead us with the shared truth inside us, to bring this world back into the light. Sooner or later, the mothers of the world will rise up, and there will be a holy reckoning. Let's make it today.